Listen, you can love me, and I know some of you hate me as well. But the one thing you will always do is respect me and appreciate the way I approach the game and what I've given to this game.
And that's it. It's over. This historic 2020 NBA championship belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers conquer the bubble, and banner number 17 will soon hang in the rafters.
The Finals MVP is LeBron James.
And the Phoenix Suns have gone on the road after missing the playoffs for 11 consecutive years and beaten the defending champion on their home court in the first round.
Who would have thunk it at the beginning of the year that the Lakers would not even make the playoffs in the 21-22 season? Unbelievable, but it's a reality.
We all know him and love him personally. The only thing I'm going to say is good hire. If the Lakers let him do what they hired him to do, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but they got to do that.
The Lakers landed their former number 2 overall pick, D'Angelo Russell, in a trade. Russell Westbrook is out. D'Angelo Russell is in.
Key, how do you feel, Key?
I think they got 3 nice little pieces. They're not done yet, I don't think.
We've got trade news for you. Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Lakers have agreed to a deal to acquire Washington Wizards forward Rui Hachimura. That's in exchange for Kendrick Nunn and 3 second-round picks. Hachimura was the 9th overall pick out of Gonzaga, remember, in the 2019 NBA draft.
I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40.
I'm not paying. The King has exited. His night over. Probably going to jump in one of those hyperbaric chambers he uses for recovery. The Los Angeles Lakers will advance by virtue of a 125-85 win. D'Angelo Russell is smiling again. Steve Kerr, first time he lost in a series outside of the finals. As the Warriors will dribble it out. A dominant victory here in Game 6. The 7th seed is going to the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers' hopes of banner number 18 still alive. Reeves is the inbounder. Reeves holding. James comes out of the pack. James on the drive, goes inside, stop, shot, block, gets it back. It's over. It's over. Denver makes history. The Nuggets are going to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history.
Come on, Bron. Come on, Bron. Come on, Bron. Foul! No! No!
Bro, calm down. What are you doing? What are you doing, Kenny? Calm down.
No!
Relax. It's just a game. It's just a game.
Oh my God!
But I don't know. I got a lot to think about, to be honest. And just for me personally, going forward with the game of basketball, got a lot to think about.
Jalen Hood-Schifino headed to the Lakers 17th overall. His lone season in Bloomington became the first Indiana freshman to record multiple games with 30 or more points since Eric Gordon in 07-08.
This is Gabe Vincent.
It's Torian Prince here.
I'm Cam Reddish here.
It's Jackson Hayes here, just excited to get to work.
I'm back.
D'Angelo Russell looks like he's going to resign and stay with the Lakers here. We got some breaking news where the LA Lakers continue to be busy in free agency, and the latest domino to fall is keeping one of their own and re-signing Austin Reeves to a 4-year, $56 million deal.
Breaking news from Woj. AD has agreed to a 3-year, $186 million max extension. Woj saying it ties him to the franchise through 2028.
Is 2024 the year that the Lakers will win their 18th championship and the second of the LeBron James era? Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA Now. It's your boy Dom, and we're going to get right into things here today. Now, first off, before we get into anything, I would like to say I appreciate all the support recently. But with that said, let's get into the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, obviously, this team had a very, very good offseason. Just the other day, we did a vote on the community poll section of YouTube over on the channel. So if you guys do want to stay more in tune with some stuff that's going on now or some stuff that might pop up in future videos, make sure you guys go check that out. But in the post, we saw that 39% of you guys voted for the Los Angeles Lakers having the best offseason. The Suns also got 23, Celtics got 14, and other got 24, which was addressed in the comments. So again, make sure you guys head over there if you guys do want to kind of stay in touch with the channel and who you guys think had the best offseason. But yeah, you guys overwhelmingly agreed with me and said, yeah, the Lakers had the best offseason. And I think a huge thing when we're looking at this Lakers offseason is they didn't fuck up. They didn't do anything crazy, right? This team has done a lot of different things since LeBron's got there, right? They've tried, the Michael Beasley era, almost like we're bringing a bunch of shooters. We're going to bring in guys like Westbrook, as of more recently. And that obviously doesn't work. There's a formula to building around LeBron James, and there's a formula for this team to win, and they kind of stuck with it, right? We saw the team go through struggles after winning the championship, not even be able to make the playoffs, and they kind of got back to what they needed to do, which was have good defenders, have shooters, have some young talent. They re-signed Anthony Davis. We're going to get into all of that, but they just had a smart offseason, which isn't always what this Lakers front office tries to do. Sometimes they try to reinvent the wheel and it doesn't work up and it blows up in their face. And that's kind of exactly what happened with the Russell Westbrook thing, because what we saw was Russ was not good for the Lakers. He was the scapegoat for him. And then we saw him go over to the Los Angeles Clippers, and he was able to have a phenomenal series in the playoffs where, Kawhi Leonard was injured after the first couple games, and it was pretty much Westbrook versus the Suns. And he was showing out and showing that he's not, like, his career shouldn't be over. But when he was with the Lakers, it was like, okay, why is this dude still, like, trying to be a star player? You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. They try to reinvent the wheel, and they were just able to kind of stay pat this year and kind of swallow some of that pride of, like, oh, I'm a better GM than the rest of the league, and just do what needed to be done. Now, when we get into what they exactly did, right? Obviously, like I said, they just re-signed Anthony Davis, so he's locked up until 2028. I almost said 2022. He's locked up until 2028. They also brought back Rui Hachimura, who we saw as a standout for them in the playoffs. I couldn't believe how little they had traded for him in the regular season. I know he hadn't played. He had some personal stuff going on. But when he came back and he played for the Lakers, man, did he show out. And shout out to him for wearing 28 for Kobe and Gigi. They also brought in Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes is kind of along the same lines of Cam Reddish, as both young, athletic guys that maybe aren't what we thought they were going to be when, they entered the league. And at this point, this is kind of at least Cam Reddish's last stop, probably, if he's not able to do anything. And then Jackson Hayes, he did have success. He did have success with the Pelicans. There were points in which, and actually I feel like he was most successful at the 4 with the Pelicans. Now I think he will probably play the 5 here for the Lakers. But when he was at the 4, when Zion was out, when they just put him in the Zion role because Zion was injured, he was able to, be that athletic big and kind of run the court, block some shots, get some dunks, and do what we thought Jackson Hayes was going to be able to do. We've seen him actually improve his shooting a little bit, but that's another guy that I think, as a young guy, you're kind of Lonnie Walker-esque role, him or Cam Reddish will play, where it's a younger guy coming over, kind of trying to spark some more stuff into their career, which has kind of been a theme for the Lakers the last few seasons here. Beyond that, when we look at the draft, they brought in Jalen Hood-Schifino, who I think will be good for them. I don't know a ton about him. He seems to be a good scorer, a good shooter, so that's exactly what you would want next to LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James is the engine of this team, and that should be, heir apparent before anything, right? Beyond that, the Austin Reeves contract has been talked about, how good of a contract they got for him. Had the Spurs actually offered, which came out like a week ago, they would have been able to offer more than the Lakers could have matched salary cap wise for him, and they would have just been able to get him. So the Lakers are very fortunate that the Spurs didn't offer that. They get Austin Reeves locked up. I think it's like $13 million a year for the next few seasons, and that's great for them because they were definitely gonna have a hole that was gonna need to be filled if he left, because, again, another guy like Rui Hachimura, who we saw in this last playoffs, really stepped it up, showed a lot more. Now, obviously, I think him being a Lakers player, he's going to get a little bit more hype than maybe some other players. So he might get overhyped, but he is a very good player, and that should not be understated by any means. Jared Vanderbilt, probably my favorite player for this team. Former Denver Nugget. I'm so sad that we don't have him anymore. I was sad when we traded him to Minnesota, but when he got to the Los Angeles Lakers, he was a dog. He was a dog. Clearly, like, their best defender last season. Now, I would say probably besides Anthony Davis, his value on defense is better. But Jared Vanderbilt, as you know, a perimeter defender, was really good for them. We need more offensively out of him this next season. Otherwise, he's probably done with the Lakers if he can't be better offensively. I could see him being moved at the trade deadline. If he doesn't do more offensively, obviously he is an upcoming free agent for them, and he's only 24, 25. So him be 24 years old, him being moved on from wouldn't necessarily be crazy shocking to me. But yeah, again, super good perimeter defender for them. Only averaged 7 points per game when he got to the Lakers last year. So, and then that was only on 30% from 3. So again, like I said, if his scoring doesn't go up, I would look for him to potentially be moved come trade deadline time. We know the Lakers are going to try to make moves come trade deadline, and he's definitely a guy that is possible to be moved. Beyond that, before I get to the point guard conversation, Taurean Prince was also brought in. Super good signing for them. I think he will provide a little bit more shooting in that similar role to Vanderbilt. Obviously, a little bit of a drop-off defensively, but the fact that he's able to shoot a little bit better and kind of just pair better with LeBron and AD, I could see him kind of taking those minutes away, which is definitely why I could see Vanderbilt kind of being on the move, just because, you know, when you're looking at that but when you're looking at that starting lineup, LeBron James is going to be out there, Austin Reeves, one of the point guards. Then you're going to have Anthony Davis. That really only leaves room for either Rui, Taurean Prince, or Vanderbilt for that last starting spot. One of those guys is coming off the bench. You got Hood-Schifino in there. That's already 7, and you still have one of those guys that you could trade, and that's before we're even mentioning Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, etc., right? Max Christie will be coming back. We'll see if he improves any coming into his second year. Obviously, their former second-round pick. But yeah, so I think Jared Vanderbilt might end up being the odd guy out. I'd keep your eye out for that. Beyond that, though, the point guard conversation, maybe the most interesting conversation to have revolving this team's offseason is the point guards, because they brought in Gabe Vincent. Now, some people are definitely overhyping Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent is not like an all-star by any means, but he is a solid player that can shoot threes, play defense, and knows his role. Right, so they brought him in for 3 years, $33 million. They brought back D'Angelo Russell for 2 years. I want to say 37 or something like that. So obviously you paid D'Lo more. But the thing with D'Lo is he's not a defender, and I always like to use this term to describe a streaky player or a microwave type of player is J.R. Smith. He's a J.R. Smith type player, where not in the sense of he's just going to screw up necessarily at the end of the game, but if he's on, he's on. If he's not, he's not on. And so that's why I think Gabe Vincent provides a lot of secondary playmaking next to LeBron that's consistent, because D'Lo hasn't really been a consistent all-star level player since Brooklyn. Brooklyn obviously was like his best years. Now, I think when we saw him go to the Warriors, he had obviously that little resurgence when it came to trade value before he was moved to the Timberwolves. Actually, with the Timberwolves, I think was his best defense that we've ever seen out of him, where, he was kind of able to command the defense similarly to how he would command an offense. He kind of played almost the Draymond Green role, like you go there, you go there. Obviously not to the extent or to the level that Draymond could, but that's a little bit more of what you saw when he was in Minnesota. He was still able to have a fantastic pick and roll game, obviously playing with Cat. So although he played well for the Lakers, and I do think, I know he was having this conversation with Patrick Beverley about wanting to get paid more and etc. whatever. I do think he probably should have got paid more. But again, that cap, when you're looking at a team that is trying to build a good team underneath LeBron and AD, you just don't have a lot of cap room to move with. So that's, kind of where he kind of got hoed by, was cap space really. But yeah, I think D'Lo could end up being this team's sixth man, just because of, the fact that Gabe Vincent's going to be more reliable on a night-to-night basis. Now, obviously, like if a LeBron or an AD is sitting out, I think D'Lo easily slides into the starting lineup, and somebody else will fall back to the bench just because you're going to need more scoring. But I could see, now I think he'll start as the initial starter. I could see as we get further down the line, though, Darvin Ham looking to move some stuff around if it's not exactly shaken the right way. And I think D'Lo might be your prime target to be moved to the bench, just because he's going to be able to provide some of that more microwave scoring, and that might be his best role for this team. Which, if he does come off the bench as the sixth man, look out for a sixth man of the year for D'Angelo Russell. But yeah, I think the point guard conversation is super interesting. Obviously, I think D'Lo's a better player than Gabe Vincent. Even on his worst nights, he's comparable to an average Gabe Vincent. You know what I mean? So there's that to consider. It's just the fact that every time you throw Gabe Vincent out, you know what you're going to get with him. And sometimes that's just kind of nice to have when you have guys like AD or LeBron who aren't always playing, and you kind of want some of that consistency and that flow to keep throughout the regular season. Now, I think when it comes to playoffs, expect D'Lo to start. I think even throughout the regular season, expect him to close games. But D'Lo, along with Jared Vanderbilt, would be my looks for this team that if things aren't going right come trade deadline, look for those two guys to be moved. And those two guys are going to garner a good package back. Like, these are good players we're talking about. We're talking about a former number 2 overall pick who's been an all-star and clearly is one of the, say, 25 best point guards in the league, right, in D'Angelo Russell, and then one of the most premier perimeter defenders in Jared Vanderbilt, who's only 24 years old, right? So obviously that package can garner you something, and it's not like the Lakers have picks. So again, if there's some shakeups to be made, those would be two of the guys I'd look at. Maybe Hood Schifino, but I do think this team wants to hold on to him. Beyond that, though, that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, this team made the conference finals last year. They obviously got swept by my Denver Nuggets, but this team, again, by just playing it smart, bringing in the right guys, you pretty much brought everybody back, and then you brought in some flyers on some young guys, brought in decent vets between Gabe Vincent and Taurean Prince. That's about as good of an offseason as you can have around LeBron James and Anthony Davis, especially locking AD up long-term for this team is huge. So I think this team, again, will have a little bit more regular season success than we've seen the last couple years, a little bit closer to a top 4 team. Obviously, the West is going to be very close, but I think even if LeBron is load managing throughout the year, even if AD is injured, this team can still hold its own on a night-to-night basis, and that should very much help them when it comes to playoff time, because you're not going to be fighting the best teams in the league just to make it out of round 1, right? You aren't going to get stuck with the Grizzlies probably round 1. Well, maybe the Grizzlies aren't a 2 seed, but you get my point. You're not going to get stuck with the 2 seed. You're not going to have to play Steph Curry and the Warriors in the second round and then have to play the Denver Nuggets after just having 2 long series against 2 other very good teams, right? So I do think that's something to keep in mind. Obviously, last year they were no match for the Nuggets. We'll see if they are this year. Obviously, the Nuggets lost some pieces and the Lakers added some pieces, but I think this team should be in huge conversations for the team that will end up winning it this next season. I think if I had to throw out a random power ranking, they'd probably be top 5, and that's for a very good reason. LeBron James, no longer the best player in the world in my opinion, but still a top 10 player in current basketball and one of the best players of all time. And Anthony Davis is around the same level of being a top 10 player as well. And when you look at him defensively, he might be more than that, right? So watch out for the Lakers this year. They have a shot to win the championship. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And who do you think had a better offseason than the Lakers? Because truthfully, in my opinion, I don't think anybody did. I think some teams had more polarizing offseasons. Some teams made bigger moves, you could call it. But I think just the Lakers staying pat and just making the right, smart, small decisions might have been the best thing for them. But with that said, appreciate you guys' support. Let me know again down in the comments down below. And again, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, guys.
Smoke fast so fresh.